All right, everybody. Today we have our guest is Jennifer, the therapist, just going to be chatting with us a little bit.
Hey.
All right, so let's jump right into this. So
Yeah.
I know you through online stuff. We've communicated quite a bit, and you seem to be quite an advocate for mental health.
Absolutely.
So because of the COVID thing that's going on right now in the world, that I started doing Skype interviews for the podcast. And I put something on social media and was like, hey, who should I have on the show? And because you and I, like I said, I don't know how long. I've talked to somebody the other day, and I was like, we've been doing DMs for, I feel like, a long, long time.
We'll go with that. Yeah.
So I was like, this is perfect. So I thought it was a good thing because it's very near and dear to my heart, and I know it's very important to you. So I was like, let's do this and have someone on so we can talk about like mental health and the different things, especially with what's going on in the world. So what do you specialize in, like with your therapy? What do you do? Do you have a certain field that you specialize in?
So yeah, actually I do. I do mental health, but what I primarily specialize in is trauma, and also I am a kink-friendly therapist. So when you put the word out saying, hey, who should I talk to? Who should I interview? I just kind of took a chance and said, this would be a really good time to talk about mental health. This is actually the perfect time to talk about mental health. And really, this felt like a really good platform for it because of the physical and mental connection. And you actually talk quite a bit when you do your podcast about how much of what you do is mental.
Right.
And mental space and all that. And to me, it just seems like really the perfect platform to talk about mental health and wellness, especially given what all of us are dealing with and going through right now.
Right. What are some of the things that you're doing right now that are like helping ease this thing? Because I know there's a lot of I've been talking with a lot of people about like the separation. Like this is how people are communicating now. Besides the people who live in your house, for the most part, we're all doing the social distancing thing. And then I've actually theorized that there's a possibility that there might actually be people, or a significant amount of people, who come out of this with a mild PTSD because they're afraid to get close to people again.
Absolutely. So do you mean what are the things that I'm personally doing in terms of my business and
like
stuff like that?
What are you doing to stay like mentally strong, and as far as like how are you like moving forward with your business?
Okay, so I try hard to practice what I preach, and so the things that I'm doing business-wise that I wasn't doing before, I have I've started doing a weekly chat on Facebook that when this goes on YouTube, I'll be happy to post a link to it.
Okay.
I do a weekly chat on Sundays at 5:00 Pacific time where I introduce a topic, and we've talked about things like specific coping strategies. We've talked about wellness and how to look for warning signs and what to do if you actually see yourself exhibiting some warning signs that indicate that you may actually need to seek professional this time. So I have the Sunday night chats at 5:00. I have my practice, which at this time is online only. So if anyone is actually in need of a psychotherapist at this time, I have accepted clients. It's online only. So I'm available to see private practice clients at this time in the comfort of your own home. You can show therapy in your pajamas. So that is something that is available to people. And if I'm not the right therapist for you, it's kind of like any other relationship. You need to find the right person for you, but I am available to see clients one-on-one in a format very much like Skype, where we sit down and we talk for 45 minutes once a week or every other week, just like you and I are doing right now.
Okay.
So, and something else that I've been doing is offering 30-minute phone consultations, just as kind of a more of a patch and fix, just kind of for someone to call and just say, hey, this is what's going on. What are my next steps to take? And that's not a substitution for therapy, but if someone just needs to talk to a professional to just say, hey, what is this? What am I dealing with? I've never experienced this before. What do I need to know? What do I need to do next?
Right.
Kind of thing. This is some things that I've made available within the last, how long have we been dealing with this? Maybe a month, 6 weeks, whatever it's been.
Have you had a lot of people like reaching out because they're having problems dealing with what's going on because of like the stay at home and the lack of interaction with humans? Is that something that comes up a lot?
Absolutely. The lack of interaction with humans, and also the kind of the opposite of that. This person and I are all of a sudden interacting a lot more than we've ever had to, and there's no break from that. My partner and I, my kid and I, my adult kid and I, whatever it is, we used to get an 8-hour break, a 10-hour break from each other all day.
Right.
And now we're just here all the time, and whatever it is about that person is now under this magnifying glass because we never get breaks from each other.
Right.
Or people are experiencing mental health, not even necessarily symptoms or crisis, but going, oh, all of a sudden I'm having this experience and I don't know what to do with it because I've never been through this before. None of us have. And if nobody gets anything else from this than this one thing, what I'd like for people to take from this is that we are having very normal reactions to a completely abnormal situation.
And that's the damn truth. It's just, it's crazy. I got, my wife and I, let me step back. My dad came out to visit right at the beginning of March and he planned on staying a couple of weeks, and then shit hit the fan. And now he's like, well, okay, cause he's 75 years old. So he's like, I don't want to get on a fucking plane. Like this scares the shit out of me. So he's now basically become we joke that I'm glad that he likes Vegas because he lives here now at this point, because there's no telling how long it's going to be before he gets to go home. But so having chats with him and like getting a perspective from like, cause I have the 8-year-old son. So talking to my son and how he perceives this, and then talking to my 75-year-old father and how he perceives this. And it's weird seeing someone who has been through all of the things that he's been through in his 75 years to sit there and kind of have the same, like, I don't know, this is new to me too. Like there's never been a time in his lifetime where the entire world shut the fuck down. Right.
And we're animals, we're mammals, and we need structure, and we need routine, and we need familiarity. And what's happening right now is we don't have any of that. And everything that we know changes weekly, daily, and hourly.
Right.
So we're unable to connect with anything that's familiar with us, even something that feels, well, not necessarily normal, but what would be exciting, like a visit from family. Oh, that's cool. Dad's coming, Grandpa's coming, cool. Right. We have this visit, it's an exciting thing. And then it changes and changes and changes and changes. And even our daily routines change weekly, daily, hourly.
Right.
And we're not designed for that kind of ongoing chaos.
Right.
And just to get all therapist-y here, because
Please do.
That's why you wanted to chat with me. You know, we have this awesome feature where we have our fight or flight, and we have adrenaline because a really, 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 really long time ago, when we lived in caves, our adrenaline is what kept us from getting eaten by woolly mammoths.
Right.
You know, we'd have that adrenaline rush, and we would engage our fight or flight, and it's what kept us from getting eaten so that we could evolve to this point in time and have awesome podcasts.
Right.
And so our bodies are designed to have these quick bursts of adrenaline, flush it out, and get on with our lives. And instead, we're having these floods of adrenaline and this fight or flight all the time. And we're not designed for that. And that's part of what's going on with kind of the symptomology that we're experiencing on kind of this low grade and even not so low grade level on kind of a consistent basis that has us feeling so rotten and makes it harder to deal with what we have to deal with right now.
Right. And it seems like there's the fear and uncertainty that people are, that I feel like is causing such a high level of anxiety, because you have that, and I think the internet's a blessing and it's a curse at the same time, meaning that we're able to get all of this information rapidly and get it like as soon as we want it. But on the other hand, you get so much information that you get overwhelmed, especially because this is what everyone's talking about right now. So you get overwhelmed with you see this and then this and then this, and then there's the conspiracy theories that are out there, and then there's the false shit that's not even accurate because someone wanted to clickbait. And so what do you think is a good thing or a good suggestion for people who are feeling kind of overwhelmed with the excessive information right now?
That's an awesome question. So what's been working for me is I'm allowing myself to watch, and this is kind of old school, I'm watching the 8 o'clock news and the 5 o'clock news.
Okay.
So I watch the news in the morning when I'm getting ready for work, because I'm keeping kind of my same work hours. I'm working 9 to 6. So in the morning when I'm getting dressed for work, I watch the news, and then I turn it on at 5 o'clock when I'm in the background while I'm kind of doing my charting for the day, and then that's it. That's my news consumption for the day. I can't, just like have it on all day or like all evening, because it's not good for my mental health, and I need to preserve my own mental health.
Right.
If I'm gonna, be
what about
any
social
good
media,
person.
like on Facebook and stuff, where people tend to share so much shit?
Right. Yeah, and that's another thing, because it's so easy to just be, and I'm guilty of it too. It's like, oh, I only have 30 notes to write today, but my business day doesn't end for another 30 minutes. Hi, see, what's going on?
Right.
So, it's a matter of self-discipline, and this is a great time to be cultivating other skills. If you have the time, what are things that you used to really enjoy that you haven't picked up in a while? What have you been saying to yourself? God, I wish I had the time to. You got the time.
That's true.
Is that guitar sitting in the corner collecting dust, or pick up the phone, call someone, see
Right.
how they're doing, or just pick up a book. I'm doing something kind of fun right now with a friend of mine where we're going back and we're reading books that we enjoyed when we were kind of in that preteen age,
Right.
we're reading those together, and it's super fun. So it does take some self-discipline, which is kind of hard to have right now when you're in the
Right.
phase. But um, it also helps to pull back into the here and now. And when we talk about anxiety is really pulling yourself out of the here and now. It's worrying about what's going to happen or what's already happened.
Right.
But anxiety is never about what's happening to me right now in front of me.
Right. That's weird.
So,
I've never thought about that, but it's because I've dealt with anxiety with me, and my wife suffers from it. And as you just said that, I was like, it is. It's not like exactly right now. It's what may happen or what did happen. It's never what's happening at this exact second, because you're in it and you're dealing with it.
and so for anxiety, with anything that can engage your five senses, your taste, smell, touch, sight, and sound, what's right here, I can see my computer, I can hear birds outside of my window, I can feel, the arms of my chair, I can feel my back against the chair, my feet on the floor, I've got my water right here. What are my five senses engaging right now? That, and also, again, when we have an anxiety attack, what's physiologically happening is our brains are sending a flood of adrenaline,
right,
because they think we're having to fight or flight. And there's nothing to fight or fly away from. So what's physiologically happening that makes us feel so rotten is that flood of adrenaline. And so anything that you can do physically, like, if you're afraid of flying, for example, even just doing this and clenching your fist and tapping your feet on the ground will move that adrenaline through your body.
right.
And again, using your senses to move it through your body and help your body process it instead of it just sitting there making you sick.
Right. And I've heard that a lot of people that are saying that it's like, the best thing to do with about what's going on, excuse me, is that you have to get up and you have to move, like do things that you maybe wouldn't do, because sitting and being inactive is all it's doing is making this worse. Whereas if you got up and did anything, you go for a walk, pace back and forth in your house, do anything, go outside and get some fresh air, sit in the sun for at least 15 minutes a day. These are the things that, like, I've been kind of doing with our family, because we now have the extra person in the house and we have the child at home that's having to be homeschooled essentially. So we have taken on being teachers on top of everything else, and then having an extra person in the house, which I love my father dearly, but at some point it's like, this is my space kind of situation. So it's dealing with that on top of the financial situations of what the fuck's going to happen next. When do I get to go back to work? Am I going to do I have enough money to last until, my next rent's due? Or do I have enough money to pay rent until I go back to work? Or when the hell is that stimulus check going to get here? All of these things. So on top of all the other things, I feel like it's compiling with this angst of wanting to go somewhere and wanting to do something and being stuck sitting. So that's why we're like, let's do something. Get your ass up. Let's go sit in the sun. We'll open the garage. We'll sit in the driveway. There's other people playing, like kids. The kids in our neighborhood have like take turns. So if one kid's out there, the rest of them let the kid play for a while. And then when that kid goes in, maybe another one will go out in the street. So it's just finding these new routines to keep us from fucking going crazy.
Yeah. And we are finding new routines and new things that are working for us, which is amazing how adaptable we actually are, and the way that we're able to take things in our minds and reframe them and be able to say, instead of I'm stuck, be able to look at it as I'm preserving my health, I'm protecting my family.
Right.
My father is 75 and he's here where he's safe and not outside with people who are going to
God knows who doing God knows what. I was on Instagram. I posted something on, all right, sorry, audio came up. I posted something the other day. It was this funny little meme. And it says, it's amazing how badly we're screwing up an apocalypse on an easy setting. We're clearly not ready for zombies and aliens, which I thought was funny. But I had someone comment that said, what did he say? He said, honestly, I think zombies and aliens would be easier because then there's actually something to do. What's killing me about all of this is that there's nothing I can do to change the situation other than sit at home and do nothing. If I could be out there hacking up the virus a little bit, I think I would feel better. And it's a given. But then I responded to him and said, the hard part for most of us is understanding that staying at home is helping the situation. It doesn't feel that way, but it is, because everyone's like, I need to get out. I want to do something. And it's stay home, stay the fucking home. That's the thing that's going to fix it.
Exactly. Yeah. So the only other thing that I really wanted to make sure that we touch on today, I don't know how we're doing on that, is how to seek help if you need it and how to know if you need to seek help.
Do it.
So the things to be aware of course, are if you're having any thoughts about harming yourself, if you feel like the situation is getting hopeless, if you feel like you can't see a way out, if you're having trouble seeing that, yes, this eventually will come to an end. We are not going to be sheltered in place for the rest of our lives. This will come to an end.
Right.
And if you find yourself losing touch with that and losing touch with the reasons that you have to stay sheltered in place, to keep yourself safe, to maintain yourself for yourself and the people that you love, if you start having those thoughts, then, or if you start having thoughts about harming the people around you. I know that, we make all the jokes about that, but, domestic violence rates are on the rise, and the abuse of children, those rates are on the rise.
Right.
And so if you're having thoughts about harming yourself or the people around you, it is time to let us, the professionals, know so that we can get you the help that you need. And mental health care services are still available. So for your local resources, 911 or your local emergency number is always available as a resource. The other thing that you can do is if you look up your local county's mental health number, your local county should have a mental health department. And if they don't, you can always call your emergency number. But most counties will have a mental health department. If you look up that number, they will be able to point you in the right direction. Normally, and like I said, this crisis is going to come to an end at some point.
Right.
Normally, I tell people that their nearest emergency room is an option, but right now, I don't know if that's available to people or safe because of the COVID crisis.
Right.
So I don't know whether or not I can safely recommend that. So if you are having thoughts of harming yourself or harming anyone else, start with 911 or your local county mental health, and they'll be able to get you the help that you need. And if you show up on my weekly mental health chat, one thing that I stress very strongly is that we're all in this together. We're a community, and whether it feels like it or not, whoever you are and wherever you are needed, you are cared about, you are loved, and we're all going to get through this. I mean, we just are. This is going to end at some point, and the people around you need you, love you, and care about you. And I want to see us all get through this and be well on the other side.
Right.
So I'm really grateful that you allowed me to come on here and talk about mental health today, because it's such an important part of what we're dealing with this crisis.
It is. And I was as I was telling you earlier, I had just I wrapped up one, because I'm trying to bang as many of these out as I can during like this week, because I'm in the middle of trying to move during this crisis also. So I just was speaking with Ginger, excuse me, and her and I were actually talking about because it comes up all the time, especially with what we do for a living or just in life in general. One of the biggest roots of everything that happens around us, negative and positive, is mental stability and wellness, or lack thereof. So it's been super important to me. So I always try, and like when I found out what you did for a living, and I was like, this is really good. And I trying to because it's important to me, because there's so many people that are going through so much shit, and most people have no idea that it's even happening. So to be able to talk about it and address it, and as like we were talking earlier, to have us do this conversation, do this podcast, and if it fixes one person, if it gives one person the strength to call someone to help themselves, either to prevent them from hurting themselves, someone else, or to make them smile, to keep them alive longer, anything, if we can get one person to do better, then we're doing something right.
Right. And for anyone in the adult industry, Pineapple Support is just fab. They are amazing. They do such great work with the community. I can't say enough great things about them. And being on the other side of the client worker relationship, they do incredible trainings for us. They're top notch. So anyone in the industry in particular who could use support, please get in touch with Pineapple. They're incredible.
Yeah.
They're just amazing.
And there's also a lot of things, and I can't locally look them up for everyone, because there's people that listen to this all over the place. But I mean, you can do very little research. It doesn't take a lot to Google suicide hotlines or mental health hotlines that are local to you, that someone's going to sit there, especially now, because there's a lot of people that have nothing else to do and are more than willing to sit there. Because a long time ago, I heard this saying, it's like, I'd much rather hear about your problems now than listen to them at your funeral.
Yeah. Well, here it is. National Suicide Hotline number, 1-800-273-2855. 1-800-273-TALK.
There you go. And that goes for everybody. And it doesn't have to be just people that are trying to deal with COVID right now. This is for anybody, because you've got veterans, you've got people all over the world that are suffering from all kinds of shit. So it's anything that can, make people, help people, give people hope, or give people another chance, or make them smile, or see that it's not just you. There's a lot of us out here doing this.
Sorry, TALK is 8255. So 1-800-273-8255. There, okay. That's it.
I was going to say, I'll put the number on the screen and reiterate it when we put it up. Alrighty. That was a good one. You got anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
No, I hit all my points.
Awesome. It was amazing to finally have a conversation with you. We've been chatting forever on Twitter, so it was nice to actually have a chat. And maybe we can do this again sometime, and we can touch base more on the kinkier side of things when we're not in such a weird spot right now.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That's
awesome.
Great.
All right.
Please stay safe, wash your hands, and take care of your mental health. And when you post stuff, I want to post my work email, so that if people need to get in touch with someone, they can do that.
Okay,
right?
so before I actually, don't hang up the Skype thing. I'm going to do my usual turn out. And then once I end the podcast, I'll get all your information so I can post it when we put this up.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care of yourselves and each other.
All right, everybody. That was Jennifer, the therapist.